on your mics. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting for Vineland City Council, starting at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Dr. Arthur? Mr. English?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Vargas?
Here.
Mr. Spinelli?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given on December 11th, 2024 by the City Clerk in the following manner: posting written notice on the official bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, providing written notice to the offices of the Daily Journal and the Press of Atlantic City, and filing written notice in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Vineland.
Chair will entertain a motion that the minutes of the pre-meeting conference and the regular meeting of January 28th, 2025, and the work session of February 4, 2025, and the special meeting of February 5, 2025, be approved as submitted.
So move. Second.
Any question by council? Seeing none?
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas? Yes. Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the public to inform the governing body about their views. The governing body prescribes to City Council's bylaws and the New Jersey statutes on open public meetings when engaging during public comment. As such, each individual shall have a 5-minute limit to comment, cannot yield time to another individual, may only approach the podium once during public comment for any one topic. Vulgar offensive language is prohibited, and City Council will not engage in dialogue with the public during this time. The governing body maintains model courtesy and respect and requires members of the public to do the same.
Just a note, if you are here for ordinance number 25-9 or 25-10, there is a public hearing, and during that public hearing time, you will have time to speak if you choose. Prior to that, we will have our professionals from the city, our planning, and the attorney from the Planning and Zoning Board here to testify. So that may clear up some issues, because some of the letters and things that we received didn't sound like everybody had a clear idea what actually was going on or not. So that may help you make a decision, one, whether you want to speak, and two, what actually is going on, rather than trying to figure it out, because I know sometimes the legalese that go out are a little bit different than normal English. So if you choose to speak on those two, my suggestion is wait to the public hearing and then give your opinions during it. If it's anything else, we will open public comment during this time for any other issues. Anyone like to speak other than on those issues? You can come up here now. All right, seeing no one, we will move on. Oh, come on. All right, that's my man.
I have ordinance number 2025-5, an ordinance to accept a portion of property to be added to a street known as Southwood Drive, which is ready for a continued public hearing.
Chair will entertain a motion that ordinance number 2025-5 be taken up for a continued public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to be heard on ordinance number 25-5? Seeing no one, Chair will entertain a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 25-5 be closed.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair will entertain a motion that the ordinance 2025-5 be taken up for final reading and adopted according to law.
So move. Second.
Any questions by council? Seeing none,
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
yes.
Ordinance number 2025-5, an ordinance to accept a portion of property to be added to a street known as Southwood Drive. This ordinance is adopted.
Mr. Petrosky, please submit ordinance number 25-5 to the mayor for his approval or disapproval.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have ordinance number 2025-6, an ordinance authorizing a pilot agreement for project tax exemption for various applicants, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 25-6 be taken up for public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on ordinance number 25-6? Seeing no one, Chair entertains a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 25-6 be closed.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 25-6 be taken up for final reading and adopted according to law.
So move. Second.
Are there any questions by council? Seeing none,
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
yes.
Ordinance number 2025-6, an ordinance authorizing a pilot agreement for project tax exemption for various applicants. This ordinance is adopted.
Mr. Petrosky, please submit ordinance number 25-6 to the mayor for his approval or disapproval.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have ordinance number 2025-7, ordinance appropriating $1,225,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund for various improvements to the water utility in and by the city of Vineland in the county of Cumberland, New Jersey, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 25-7 be taken up for public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to be heard on ordinance number 25-7? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 25-7 be closed.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair will entertain a motion that ordinance number 25-7 be taken up for final reading and adopted according to law.
So move. Second.
Any discussion by council? Seeing none,
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Gomez?
yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-7, ordinance appropriating $1,225,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund for various improvements to the water utility in and by the city of Vineland in the county of Cumberland, New Jersey. This ordinance is adopted.
Mr. Petrosky, please submit ordinance number 25-7 to the mayor for his approval or disapproval.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have ordinance number 2025-8, ordinance amending ordinance 92-65, chapter 103 of the Code of the City of Vineland entitled Municipal Alliance Committee, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair will entertain a motion that ordinance number 25-8 be taken up for public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
No.
Dr. Arthur, this is just for the public hearing.
Okay. Yes.
Change your vote?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on ordinance number 25-8? Seeing no one, the chair will entertain a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 25-8 be closed.
So move. Second. Sorry.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 25-8 be taken up for final reading and adopted according to law.
So move. Second.
Council have any issues? Seeing none.
Dr. Arthur?
This is a no.
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 Mr. English?
No.
Mr. Gomez?
No.
Mr. Vargas?
No.
Mr. Spinelli?
No.
Ordinance number 2025-8, ordinance amending ordinance 92-65, chapter 103 of the Code of the City of Vineland entitled Municipal Alliance Committee. This ordinance is defeated. I have ordinance number 2025-9, ordinance amending ordinance 96-4 as amended, chapter 425, article 15, sections 425-293 entitled B1 Business Zone Standards, section 425-94 entitled B2 Business Zone Standards, Section 425-295, entitled B3 Business Zone Standards, 425-298, entitled IN1 Industrial Zone Standards, in accordance with Resolution 6667 of the City of Vineland Planning Board, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair entertains a motion that the ordinance number 2025-9 be taken up for a public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Yes.
Kelly? Thank you.
At this time, we'll ask Kathy Hicks, she's already up there, to give her testimony into what's actually going on with this ordinance.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kathleen Hicks. I've been the city planner since 1987. I have multiple degrees in planning. I am a licensed planner in the state of New Jersey. I am also a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners.
Excuse me, you have to speak louder because people can't hear you in the back.
Okay. Would you like me to repeat?
I think you're okay to go ahead without repeating that, only because it's your background.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to provide you with a bit of a summary. In examining our land use ordinance, our board solicitor, Mike Malinsky, and myself, we discovered a number of issues. One, substance abuse counseling and treatment was a permitted use in a B2 business zone. We consider B2 to be a neighborhood business. In my professional opinion, that's not a suitable use to be embedded in neighborhoods. A second issue was we did not address mental health counseling or treatment in the ordinance at all. I felt we needed to add that because there are more facilities dealing with that today, and I likewise felt that would not be appropriate in a B2 zone either. The third issue related to non-profit. Our solicitor had done extensive research with the ordinance and determined that the permitted use in zones stated business or professional office, and nonprofits did not fit within that definition. So we therefore had no land use category that allowed the nonprofits. So we had these three issues that we needed to address. So how I proposed resolving that was to create two new uses, one being mental health counseling or treatment, the second being service office. And service office would be non-business and was predominantly done to capture those nonprofits. I then had to deal with the zones where these uses would be permitted. First off, the problem with the B2 neighborhood zoning districts. We proposed a change, and this has all been endorsed by the Planning Board and is being made as a recommendation to City Council. First off, with substance abuse counseling or treatment, it would not be permitted in B1 business, which is primarily Landis Avenue, and B2 business zones. Likewise, the newly created mental health counseling and treatment would also not be permitted in B1 or B2. Now, then where to put these uses? Now, substance abuse counseling and treatment is already addressed in the ordinance. We're proposing taking it out of B2, but it is currently allowed in B3, B4, and industrial business. I likewise propose making mental health counseling and treatment a companion use, and it would be permitted in those same zoning districts. Then there is the new land use category of service office. It would also be permitted in those same zoning districts in addition to institutional one. Institutional one is down near the college, the hospital, and those are the proposed changes. So it's basically an effort to try to insulate and refine the uses permitted in B2, which is neighborhood business, and then create two new uses that were not addressed in the land use ordinance, and put them in appropriate zones. Thank you.
I have a
Thank
quick
you, Kathy.
question for you. So as a result of your testimony before the planning board in November, the planning board listened to your recommendations and adopted a resolution, 6667, recommending to council to amend the municipal land use law in accordance with the proposed changes that you just testified to, correct?
Correct.
And you have, you've seen Resolution 6667, you probably helped prepare it with Mr. Malinsky. And you also saw Ordinance 2025-9, which talks about changes in the zones and removing certain uses such as substance abuse from the B2 zones. And that mirrors the resolution that was prepared by Planning Board 6667, correct?
Yes, it does.
And the second ordinance that we're going to be getting to, and I'm just going to touch on it briefly, is really a definitions section. And you've talked about that as well, that the definitions that you just came up and discussed, service office, medical office,
Mental health.
abuse counseling, abuse counseling, treatment center, professional office, were all better defined in that ordinance, is that correct?
Yes, and something I did not mention, I clarified those two definitions that they are outpatient only.
Correct. And just briefly, the B2 business zone standards, the purpose, and I believe you wrote this so many years ago.
Yes, long ago.
Indicates it is the purpose of this zone to recognize and preserve commercial areas which are specifically intended to provide convenient service to surrounding neighborhoods. Because of the necessary interface with residential zones, it is important that negative impacts be minimized. It further says it is important that zone requirements and design standards not be sacrificed to allow overdevelopment or improper utilization of properties, as this would negatively impact upon the character and commercial area and the stability of adjoining neighborhoods. That preamble is essentially the reason why you felt that those uses were not or should not be permitted in the B2 zone. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Second person to testify is Mike Malinsky. He's the attorney for the Zoning and Planning Board.
Council.
Mr. Malinsky, you are presently employed not only with the City of Vineland, but other municipalities in a professional capacity, representing land use boards as well as the municipal governing bodies. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you've represented the City of Vineland land use boards, both land zoning and planning, well before today, last year. Is that correct?
This is correct. This is my second year representing the Planning and Zoning Board.
And in your official capacity, you appeared in November when Planning Board heard testimony of Kathy.
Pull the magnet up.
Mike, put the mic up.
Yeah. Here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There.
You heard the testimony that Kathy Hicks just presented,
Yes, I did.
and your firm was there when she testified to that effect. And your firm was there when the Planning Board adopted Resolution 6667, correct?
Yes, I was present that night. Ms. Hicks explained each of the land use amendments to the board. And then the board at that time agreed that they were furthered the master plan. They weren't supported the master plan. And ultimately, at their December meeting, adopted an ordinance or a decision and resolution recommending that these land use amendments be recommended for adoption by mayor or council.
And Ordinance 2025-9, which was up for a public hearing tonight, you've seen that, as well as Ordinance 2025-10, which we're going to get to shortly. And they accurately mirror the recommendations made by the Planning Board in your Resolution 6667?
Yes, they accurately reflect the recommendations in the resolution adopted by the board, which was decision and resolution number 6667.
And in your opinion, as an attorney that has represented planning boards and has performed land use work in other municipalities, you concur with Kathy Hicks's recommendations to the planning board that those uses would best removed from the B2 zones, uses being the substance abuse and the counseling services.
Yes, I concurred with Ms. Hicks' determinations, and also my planning board concurred with Ms. Hicks' determinations after hearing her explain each of the land use amendments and going through in detail with the board, and they made an informed decision at that time that each of those land use amendments should be adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hopefully that helped some people a little bit, understanding exactly what is going on as far as these things are concerned. At this time, if anyone would like to be heard, you can step up to the microphone, state your name. You have 5 minutes to state your case, and
can you hear me?
yes, sir.
All right, for the record, my name is William Acevedo Ayala. Please take notice that ordinance number 2025-9, I oppose it. Reason why is because substance abuse people and mental health, the people that suffer from mental health, you're making it difficult for them to have transportation to get where they need to get. B1 and B zone are more convenient and more suitable for them to get the treatment where B zone 1 and 2 are at. By putting this ordinance number 2025-9 is making it difficult for those people. So I oppose it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your name, please.
Yeah, Ronald Meyer. I live at 266 West Butler Avenue in Vineland. I just want to ask a few questions. So if these facilities are being permitted in zones IB, we're surrounded by IB on Butler Avenue. We got 15 to 20, 25 homes on Butler Avenue. We're surrounded by zone IB. So allowing these treatment centers next to our homes I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, you know, it sounds industrial business, but we're surrounded by IB. It's not like it's in the industrial park or anything. So I just wanted to ask, you know, bring that up, that it's right next to R5.
Anything else, sir?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Denise Rigone. This is my husband, Anthony. Good evening, President and Council members. We're here this evening out of a genuine concern for Ordinance 2025-9 and the potential impact that this may have throughout Vineland. We realize that it is the diligence of this City Council to re-examine the scope and the challenging needs of the community that it has been entrusted to serve. We equally realize that your knowledge is broad. While taking into account the diversity of our city members, it's truly an enormous responsibility. My husband and I have been residents of Vineland for close to 35 years. We have first-handedly seen Vineland evolve, and we are very aware of the complexities that now exist as a result of changing times. And while the needs of our community are ever-changing, many needs continue to still remain simplistic and very basic in their own right. Substance abuse and mental health issues are concerns that have plagued all communities, and Vineland is of no exception. We commend you for your insight and your plight to bring services to those in need. The proposed zone changes will undoubtedly impact many residential areas that border B3 zones throughout our community. The effects will be vast, with great potential to negatively impact the established neighborhoods that many of us have called home for years. Neighborhoods like ours that support children, families, and recreational resources. Vineland's foundation and its stability is only as strong as the neighborhoods and the residents that support us, residents like us. While centers treating alcohol and substance abuse are more frequently being located within residential neighborhoods, more property owners across the nation are making a stand. The contention is that this too will bring higher crime rates into their neighborhoods. Like you, we don't want our neighborhood children to be unsafe. For example, Southwest Swim Club is a valued part of our community that provides a host of invaluable services to many families across Vineland. The swim club's property is border to B3. Longwood University in Virginia conducted a study of MLS data from Central Virginia to estimate this very impact of substance abuse treatment centers on nearby home values. Their research found that the home located within 1/8 of a mile from a treatment center on average had an 8% drop in the value when stacked up against comparable homes that were farther away. The decline in home values is even greater and further reduced property value by up to 17% when the treatment center specifically treated opiate addictions like heroin and morphine. Perhaps mental health counseling or treatment centers would be better established close to nearby hospitals and medical facilities to provide a spectrum of services to those in need, while maintaining the very integrity of our residential neighborhoods. Vineland is unique to most communities throughout New Jersey because of its plentiful acreage and the unlimited possibilities that this in and of itself can offer. As noted in Vineland Chapter 425, which I heard referenced here earlier this evening, Land Use Article 15, Zoning B3, Business Zone Standards, it states, and I quote, "It is important that the zone requirements and design standards not be sacrificed to allow overdevelopment of properties, as this would negatively impact upon the character of these business areas and upon the quality of life of the adjoining residential areas." End quote. This very character and well-being of a given community can also be negatively impacted by altering the established uses of specific land zones. We respectfully ask that these proposed zoning changes not be implemented at this time in an effort to preserve the character and the very well-being of the already established small businesses and residential neighborhoods that we call home. I truly do thank you for your very kind consideration, for your dedication, and for your commitment to Vineland and its constituents like myself. And in closing, I understand that these established, these zonings are important to everybody, and everybody has a place within this community. I think just switching up from one zone to another still exists. There's issues, there are neighborhoods, there are residential homes. So I thank you for your very kind consideration this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am Anthony Ragone. I just want to be quick. Maybe perhaps you can propose an addendum if B3 backs up to a residential area that exempts the treatment center. Thanks for your time.
Good evening. My name is John Antonelli. I am the current CEO of the Cumberland Cape Atlantic YMCA. I am here today representing our Y, representing the 150 employees that I have, and also representing 26 board members and over 4,100 members. I would like to share some of our concerns we have with this proposed programs that will take place adjacent to our YMCA. Every day, our Y welcomes hundreds of children, teens, and families into our programs, including preschools, before and after care, and recreational activities that bring hundreds of children into our building every day. Our facility is a safe haven where young people can grow, learn, and thrive. However, the proposed location of these programs less than 500 yards from our doors raises significant concerns that I believe warrant serious consideration. We want to be clear, we do recognize the importance of harm reduction efforts, and we support initiatives that address the public health crisis. However, the location of these programs so close to the facility that serves children is deeply troubling for several reasons. First is the safety risk. Anytime there is programs such as this that take place in the community, there is naturally a concern around discarding needles or other materials on the public areas. Any increased risk presents a direct hazard to children while playing outside our building and using surrounding sidewalks to get to and from the Y. We use our property for children to play, and our parking lot routinely hosts special events for communities such as Healthy Kids Day, back to school events, our summer camps. We have 60 preschool children and over 50 kids that come to our before and after school. That does not even account for the hundreds of kids that come to play sports at the Y or take swim lessons. We also are concerned about the community impact that it has. Parents entrust us with their children's well-being, and many have already expressed concerns about how this decision will affect the confidence in our ability to maintain a secure environment. Additionally, we worry about potential loitering, an increase in individuals struggling with addiction in the immediate area, and the overall perception of safety for our families and staff. These all could potentially harm our business and lead parents to choose other options for their children. While we acknowledge the need for services, we strongly urge City Council to consider relocating those programs to an area better suited for this type of intervention, such as near healthcare facilities, other social service agencies, or law enforcement partnerships that could offer safer and more effective implementation without placing young children at risk. This is not about opposing harm reduction efforts. It's about making thoughtful, community-conscious decisions that protect both vulnerable individuals struggling with addiction or other concerns and children and families who rely on our YMCA. Therefore, we respectfully ask City Council to reevaluate the proposed location, conduct a public safety impact assessment, as there are other child care facilities in close proximity as well, and work collaboratively with community stakeholders, including the YMCA, to find solutions and support public health without compromising child safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Corinne Eggett, and I've had a house in a B3 zone all my life, and I'm an old lady. And I think the other gentleman's suggestion before me might make some sense. Just an amendment that you don't have any of these treatment centers within 1 mile of a residential house. Not so much changing the zones, but, you know, when you have children or grandchildren and everything, you know, needles around and people dealing with big problems, they don't need that. Just an amendment where, you know, still in the zones you proved, but like the gentleman before me said, maybe, you know, a mile from, not closer than a mile to someone's house. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Marjorie Ingram. I just have a couple questions, and I just want to say that I know that nobody wants it in their neighborhood, but just a brief statement that these people need help. So maybe something can be worked out, but I'll give you a quick story about the Hendricks house, which is on Roosevelt Boulevard. No, Roosevelt, what's the road? Avenue. On the boulevard, my neighborhood. And they came into town about 30, 40 years ago. Nobody wanted it. Hendricks house, in case you don't know, is for addicts, and they live there. They come, they live, they get their act together. It's temporary, and again, nobody wanted it, but it's been peaceful. This is a little different, and that brings me to my question. the one thing I didn't understand is, sorry about that. What are these newly defined service offices? What are they? I just don't know what that means.
I can go through the definition. See if I get it. Had it.
You want me to read it for you?
It's actually, let's see,
Want to read it into the record, Kathy?
definition, here it is. Definition of service office. Any office primarily engaged.
Talking to the mic, honey, get closer.
All right, I'll follow instructions. Any office primarily engaged in providing assistance as opposed to products to individuals, business, industry, government, or other enterprise. It's because they're not a business office or a professional office. This definition was intended to capture the nonprofits.
So, when you say products, I mean, the concern is that they're going to have places for addicts to get needles and that kind of thing. Is that what our concern is here? These. Yes? Yes? Okay. So then when you say opposed to products, they're not going to be able to do that, to hand out needles.
No, that is not what this definition means. It means that a service office is not in the business of providing products. Like, for example, a plumbing business, they're doing plumbing. It's a business use. You can have offices providing products, like a lawyer's office would do wills and deeds, etc. There are products.
So if it's
including out.
So a business can't come in and give needles to different people, but a nonprofit could.
Nobody from the audience. Excuse me, sir. You'll have your opportunity if you'd like to speak.
I'm just trying to get clarification here, that's all. So what this is saying is that a business can't come in and profit with products that would help an addict, but a nonprofit.
No, this is saying that we've created a definition, service office, to capture nonprofits because they don't qualify under the definition of business or professional office. Do you want no nonprofits in the community would be the issue because they do not fit in any of the definitions we have for offices. And like we have many types of offices listed in the land use ordinance, but none of them captured what a nonprofit is, where they're not producing a product, they're not being paid for services. Because we also have what is called a development definition book that we fall back on, which more clearly defines what service is. So this is just trying to give a land use category that a nonprofit could fit into. It's not, has nothing to do with can they offer product, can't they offer, as you're alluding to, needles or things like that. That's not part of what is being said by the definition.
Okay, well, that didn't help me a whole lot, but okay. So I'm just going to go to my next question. Is there somebody or an organization of some type requesting to open up one of these, what did you call them, service areas, offices, at this time?
I can tell you that the history regarding this really began with the existence of an office in a B2 zone. But as we reviewed it with Mr. Malinsky, his concern was, for example, that in a B2 zone, as it existed, a meth clinic could just plop right down next to the YMCA or any other B2 zone. And so we needed to re-examine our B2 zones to determine, because it's a transitional zone between residential and a business. For example, it would be a use such as the Wawa, where somebody can walk out of their house and get a cup of coffee. But as we took a look at that, I mean, it began as a result of the operation of an existing business, but it got beyond that when we determined that we really needed to take a look at the zone itself, the B2 zone, and determine what uses should or should not be prohibited or permitted there. And from there, we went a bit further, as Ms. Hicks was testifying, regarding tightening up the definitions of business office, creating the new defined term as service office. So no and yes is the answer.
Okay,
Audrey,
I'm understanding a little better.
5 minutes is up.
Can I yield somebody's minutes?
That's not the way it works, sorry.
I just want to finish, because I got, she took 2 or 3 of my minutes, so I think I should get hers back.
Ed, I'll give you another minute.
All right, thank you. So, I'm going to close here. If I'm understanding from your definition, what you're saying is that I'm going to just do it in layman's terms. Meth clinics can now be, not that they're opening a meth clinic, okay? Everybody relax. But they could go in this newly defined service area or offices, or some sort of clinic that helps the addict with product, which would be needles that they use, that program that's out there. And they would be able to go.
Well, there are certain zones that permit that up near the hospital. I'm not saying that that's what would happen in a B3 zone, but in the institutional zone up around the hospital, there are actually.
There are already. No, I'm just, okay. So let me end it now, because I know my time. He's going to yell at me in a second. The concern is, I do understand the people with the residents, and I have a business that is not in the zone, but across the way is, where they could come and make these offices. I don't have too much of a problem with it, because I understand the issues of mental health and addiction. And again, going back to, nobody wants it in their home or in their neighborhood. I understand that. My concern is for, the one person that is in my area that has a house. Most everything else is business. Maybe, just a suggestion, maybe anybody that wants to come into a neighborhood or across the street from me would have to get a variance, so that we would have another opportunity to voice our opinion, instead of just doing this thing that allows them to come in without us having a say. I'm done.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Luigi Tramontana, President of the Board of Directors of the YMCA. I'm here to support Ordinance 2025-9, as this eliminates our concern regarding the proposed location of the needle exchange facility to be overseen by South Jersey AIDS Alliance in vicinity of the YMCA. While I deeply respect and support the critical work being done to address the issue of substance use and to promote public health, I believe that placing this facility in close proximity to schools and the YMCA raises significant concerns for our community. Locations near educational institutions where children and families frequently gather should prioritize creating safe and supportive environments. The presence of a needle exchange facility in this area could potentially expose young people to negative influences and situations that may be inappropriate for their development. Furthermore, the YMCA is a center for community activities and programs aimed at fostering healthy lifestyles. Having such a facility nearby might deter families and individuals from utilizing these important services. It's essential that we find a solution that balances the important objectives of public health initiatives with the need to maintain safe and supportive spaces for our children and families. I encourage the South Jersey AIDS Alliance, local officials, and community members to work collaboratively to identify a location for the needle exchange facility that minimizes potential risk to our youth and residents while still addressing the vital need for harm reduction services. Thank you for your consideration on this ordinance. Hopefully the snow stops.
Thank you. After Mr. Marcacci, we have some people online, so I'm going to give a couple of those people an opportunity. So, and then we'll get back to people in the room.
I'm only going to be a few minutes.
Go ahead.
I would like to say that all the talking that I've heard, the one thing I have to say is don't allow it to happen. We don't need that type of, I condone them, I praise them that try to help those who have fallen through the cracks. But they do not belong next to a facility that the YMCA has for youth. Those of my generation, we advocated health and recreation, and I still do that. I was born in this city a lot of years ago, and I request City Council you to deny this request because we have two complete different entities that are going to be side by side. They don't work together. It's like day and night. So please deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Franchetta, we'll get a couple people from online, please.
Yeah, sure. If you wish to publicly comment on the ordinance and you are participating remotely, please raise your hand, and at the top of your computer screen or at the bottom of your cell phone, we will call on you and you could unmute your mic and speak. The first one that I'll be attempting to unmute here will be Babette Richter. So let's see. All right, Babette, if you unmute, you should be able to speak.
There we go. I think that came up.
We got you.
All righty. Yes, my name is Babette Richter. I am a harm reduction health nurse for South Jersey AIDS Alliance, and I have been employed with the Alliance for almost 14 years, working with those who use substances, people who trade sex for drugs or money, and the mentally ill as well as the homeless. In 2024, the state of New Jersey promulgated a process for eligible entities to apply for harm reduction centers in various municipalities in New Jersey. Harm reduction centers engage directly with people who use drugs to prevent overdose and infectious disease transmission, improve physical, mental, and social well-being, and offer access to healthcare services, which could include substance use and mental health disorder treatments. The principal manner in which HIV is transmitted is through IV drug use. Because Cumberland County is one of the top 10 New Jersey counties with a high HIV prevalence rate and drug-related deaths from overdose rates, these are pressing issues in Vineland. So we applied for and were approved to open a harm reduction center in Vineland. The New Jersey Department of Health statistics show that Cumberland County has the third highest rate of chronic hepatitis C in the state, at a rate of 84.6 persons per 100,000 in your population. New Jersey Harm Reduction Centers, including the center we run in Atlantic City, provide many services, such as those we now perform in addition to distributing syringes and needles, the life-saving drug naloxone, which most of us know as Narcan, to those who are using drugs, We also make every effort to link people with substance use disorders to treatment. Since its inception in 2007, our Atlantic City Harm Reduction Center is the example by which other New Jersey harm reduction centers are modeled. We have a reported 100% return rate for our used syringes, 100% return rate. Distributing sterile syringes has been scientifically proven to reduce the transmission of HIV and other bloodborne diseases such as hepatitis C. And while all of our clients who may access sterile syringes will not have HIV, they are deemed to be at risk for such. Our program model fully aligns with the nationwide Ending the HIV Pandemic Initiative and the New Jersey Department of Health's Integrated HIV Prevention Care Plan. The strategies and activities in our program focus on the diagnosis and treatment of persons with HIV, prevention of new infection, and assisting our New Jersey Health Department with quickly responding to HIV clusters. The effect of your new ordinance is to prevent us from providing substance use counseling or treatment to those who are using substances. And as written, the ordinance seems to discriminate against those who are using drugs. It seems to us that the ordinance treats drug users differently than those persons who are not currently using drugs. I feel it's really important to hear those words because those people that we are seeing are your neighbors. And not only are those syringes coming from somebody who accesses it from a syringe access program, but they're next door to you. They're across the street from you already. We are not bringing them to your location. Thank you for your time, and I'll let the next person step up.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rich.
All right, I'm now going to Jill O. Jill O would have to unmute.
Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Arthur, and gentlemen. My name is Jill Ozerkis, but you can certainly call me Jill O. I've been involved with the South Jersey AIDS Alliance since before it was incorporated almost 40 years ago. I've been their attorney and a board member, having served as board chair for several years and still a member of their executive committee. I'm also a former partner of your zoning board counsel, Mike Malinsky. Our organization has always been dedicated to the fight against AIDS. We are not a drug treatment center. We started in Atlantic City, as I said, almost 40 years ago, using the modalities that were in existence at the time to provide education, case management, and other services to those with HIV and AIDS. In the time that we've been in existence, those modalities have changed, and they now include harm reduction, because it has been found that while HIV and AIDS was primarily a scourge of those that were, homosexual men, it also wound up becoming a scourge that affected those with drug addiction. We started providing services in 2007, and we stayed until 2010. We left Vineland in 2010, not because there wasn't HIV and AIDS, and not because there weren't activities of people that could cause HIV and AIDS, but because our funding changed, so we weren't able to provide services there. We came again to Vineland in 2017, and we're currently in a location of which you're concerned. And we've been providing services nonstop from 2017, and we currently provide all types of harm reduction at that location. Understand that the South Jersey AIDS Alliance is a pre-existing use, and we have peacefully coexisted with the YMCA and other business owners for over 8 years. We are not coming before Vineland's planning or zoning boards or city council asking for approval to perform harm reduction, we already have that approval and we are providing harm reduction. Because
I have a quick question for you, ma'am. You've been there for 8 years, but you have not performed a needle distribution in the last 8 years. Is that fact? Oh, she muted?
Oh, she muted herself again. All right.
Give her,
Hold
okay.
on to it. Rich.
Next.
Go to the next person.
All right, we're
Now
going to
get back
Stephanie
things going
Mazzoni
here.
now.
Bill's back. She can answer the question.
All right, hold on. Jill, are you there? Are you able to answer that question posed by our attorney?
I don't know that, I don't want to, I was speaking, and I do have the balance of my 5 minutes, and I'd like to do that, and I'd be certainly delighted to speak with your attorney.
No, you made a statement, ma'am, and I just had a question with regards to it.
Yes.
You had indicated that you have been next to the Y for the past 8 years and
That is correct.
providing harm reduction services for that 8-year period. However,
That is correct.
the license you received to distribute needles is not from 8 years ago, it's from last year. Isn't that a fact?
That is correct.
So
But
you have
harm
not-
reduction services are not only, harm reduction services are not only needle exchange. There are a whole panoply of services that Ms. Victor has spoken about. So are we providing needle exchange? We currently are. We have in accordance with our license and only for a few months.
And your
Okay,
application,
if I can continue.
your application with the state indicates that you're going to be distributing 200,000 needles a year. Isn't that a fact?
I can't speak to our application, but no, I do not believe that we will be
And do you believe
doing that. I can't speak to the application.
You do realize what a B2 zone is? It's a transitional zone between residential and commercial, and the least most intrusive commercial uses are permitted in that zone. Is that correct? Have you read that ordinance?
I'm here I'm not here as counsel for the South Jersey AIDS Alliance. I'm a board member and I'd like to be able to comment. I'd be certainly delighted to have a conversation with you after this hearing, but no, I'm not going to be engaging in legal discourse with you. If I can continue as you provided courtesy to others, I would appreciate the courtesy back.
I hear you. I'm just indicating that this is a zoning regulation. It's not determining whether your use is a good, bad, or indifferent use. It's a question as to whether the use is a permitted use or should be a permitted use in a B2 zone.
Okay. So, as I said, we are not. The purpose of the South Jersey AIDS Alliance is not to be a drug treatment facility. Our purpose is to provide a whole raft and host of services that assist those with or at risk for HIV and AIDS. And that we include case management, emergency financial assistance, support groups, medical transportation. And while we are not a mental health facility, of course, when we provide services for those with or at risk of HIV and AIDS.
All right, ma'am, I don't want to interrupt you, but your 5 minutes is up and we're going to move on. We have a room full here and we have a whole leaderboard up on the internet. So I appreciate what you're saying and we understand your point. Thank you.
Next up should be Stephanie Mazzoni, if you could unmute your mic. Stephanie. One more time for Stephanie Mazzoni.
Move on.
Okay. Disabled. Go to the next. Rhiannon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rhiannon Nickus, and I'm a case manager at South Jersey AIDS Alliance in our Atlantic City location. We, as an agency, have been providing services, including mental health services and counseling, and working with and providing services to those dependent to drugs since at least 2017. And that has been in the same location since we are new. During that time, we as an agency have worked cooperatively with both the county and the City Department of Health. It appears as though the city has concerns regarding our agency continuing to provide services where we currently are located. We would appreciate if people could elaborate on what those are. What differentiates a B2 zone from a B3 zone, and why would your concerns be alleviated if we were just a few blocks away? I would like to now read a letter of support from a person who could not be here today. My name is Jennifer, and I am a New Jersey resident with 16 years of sobriety from heroin. Before I got sober, harm reduction services kept me alive and safe from disease and overdose. Without them, I would not be alive today. The people at these facilities loved me until I could love myself. This new legislation would prohibit SJAA from operating in Vineland, has the potential to cause irreparable harm to your constituents affected by the opioid crisis. It not only would prohibit SJA from offering their life-saving services, but other treatment facilities that would help your residents also wouldn't be able to work within these zones in your town. It is unjust to deny your residents these services that literally keep people alive, people who are just like I was. As a result of places like SJAA, I am now an addiction therapist and a social worker with 2 master's degrees. Harm reduction did that for me, and I can do it, and it can do it for your residents too. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. We're going to come back to the room here for a few seconds. We're trying to go back and forth, try to give everybody a chance. Who's ever next?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I apologize. I have something. And I brought my own antibacterial wipes to clean everything. That's harm reduction. My name is Georgette Shelton. I'm the CEO of the South Jersey AIDS Alliance. The South Jersey AIDS Alliance was established 40 years ago in the height of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. The services that the South Jersey AIDS Alliance provides are science and evidence-based and have changed over the years as new treatments and challenges emerged. SJA is not a drug treatment organization, as you heard several of my colleagues say. We currently provide services in Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland, and soon Salem counties. South Jersey AIDS Alliance first began providing services in Vineland in 2007 through 2010, and then again back in 2017, and we are there still today. We pay market rent, and our building is assessed for Vineland property taxes. We are located in the Vineland B2 zone. We currently have 13 employees at our Vineland office out of 39 overall. We employ 6 Vineland residents. We contribute to the economy as we frequent the stores and restaurants in the area surrounding our office. We are good tenants and good neighbors. We are part of and we are integrated into the Vineland and Cumberland County communities. I or others on my team either attend or serve as members of the Vineland Municipal Alliance, the Overdose Fatality Review Team, the Cumberland County Prosecutors Mental Health Working Group, the Cumberland County Providers Advisory Committee on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, and the Cumberland County Medications Addiction Breakfast Club, just to name a few. If adopted, we believe that the ordinances will prevent us from providing effective harm reduction services to Vineland and to the county. We know that Vineland has been hit hard by homelessness, poverty, mental health, and substance abuse. This is specifically why we have a location here in Vineland. All of the clients we serve in all our programs fall into one of these categories. Our whole purpose as an agency is to help those in need. We were the first organization in 1985 in South Jersey that brought people together who were living with HIV when everybody else shunned them. We have always helped people find the service they need, and we will continue to do so. SJAA is here in Vineland, and we want what is best for this community. We are here to stop the spread of disease, to stop overdose. We are here for the residents of Vineland, the most vulnerable residents. If harm reduction services are taken away from the community, how do you think that will affect the people who use our services? How do you think that will affect Vineland as a city? Have you thought about how these ordinances will affect other organizations and the people they serve? One way we currently help the city is to make sure that people have Narcan and are educated on overdose prevention. Another way is to make sure there is no needles in school zones or parks or places that people go. Did you know that our staff go out every day and look for syringes and do syringe sweeps? We do not want to see syringes or drug paraphernalia out on the streets any more than you do, and we make it a point that we find it and clean it up. Do you know someone who is using drugs? Do you know the pain they go through every day? Do you know what their families go through? I do. I am thankful for people who are nice to the people that I know who are using drugs, that are nice to the people who are homeless. I am thankful that they can get clean syringes and Narcan so that they can keep themselves safe and alive until they are ready for treatment. If they are ever ready for treatment.
Georgette, wind it up, please. We're at the 5-minute mark.
Okay. I'm going to clean.
Go ahead.
Harm reduction. I don't want anybody else.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Lord Shell. I am the operations manager at our Vineland office and have been working at South Jersey AIDS Alliance for over 10 years. The New Jersey Department of Health statistics show that Cumberland County had 1,100 cases of HIV and AIDS in 2021. Almost 70% of those with HIV or AIDS were male and the rest female. Approximately 32% of those Cumberland County residents with HIV or AIDS were infected as a result of injection drug use, while 30% were infected as a result of male-to-male sexual contact. An additional 5% were infected due to infection drug use and male-to-male sexual contact. Although new HIV infections related to injection drug use have declined dramatically in New Jersey, Cumberland County remains one of the top 10 counties in New Jersey with a prevalence rate of 400 plus persons living with HIV. Current NJDOH statistics demonstrate that out of 635 cases reported in Cumberland County, 113 of those cases were acquired through injection drug use. The largest programs we have in Vineland are support and related services for those people living with HIV, and they include case management, emergency financial assistance, support groups, medical transportation, food pantries, and mental health services. Many of our clients are disabled and on Social Security disability. We see approximately 90 clients per month, and some of them for multiple services. Persons with HIV and AIDS face significant societal stigma, We pride ourselves in providing confidential assistance in a stigma-free environment. The effect of your new ordinance is to prevent us from providing mental health services to our clients, many of which have AIDS because we are in a B2 zone. These ordinances seem to discriminate against our providing mental health services, what would have been acceptable for us to provide physical health services. As written, it appears that our clients can come to our office and get case management services and emergency financial assistance, yet the same person during the same encounter in our office cannot assess mental health services. What policies are you trying to further by seeking to limit us from providing mental health services for people with or at risk with HIV or AIDS? Thank you for your time.
Sir, don't leave. I have a question for you.
Thank you.
Do you understand what the ordinance is?
All my questions have to be deferred to Georgette Watson.
You understand
Georgette
that-
Shelton, my CEO, would you like to talk to her?
No, do you understand that this is a zoning ordinance and it's determining where you can go, not if you can go? For example, a gas station is not a permitted use in a residential zone. The question is whether this use is permitted in a B2 or a B3 zone. It's not limiting you or prohibiting you from doing anything. It's where you can go. Do you understand that that's what the ordinance is doing?
I already stated, Georgette Shelton, my CEO,
All right,
will
thank
respond to
you.
any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Sorry, I know you were up there before. I apologize.
Okay. Hi, my name's Angela Trisquita. I'm going to keep it simple and sweet. My daughter plays Vineland Pigtail League at Memorial. You're talking needles. God forbid, T-ball ages, which are, what, 5? My 11-year-old. You have older kids. I'm out in that field all summer long. A needle gets loose and a child gets it stuck. AIDS, anything, hepatitis, it cannot happen. And I already reached out to Vineland Pigtail League, and I will make it known if this gets passed, because I will not let my daughter play on Memorial Field because it's dangerous. And I totally respect drugs, kids, not a mix. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys really take consideration for the children and for the school. You have all ages at Memorial.
Go ahead, man.
Hi, my name is Jen Thornton. I'm a team leader at South Jersey AIDS Alliance. And a Vineland resident of almost 18 years. The Vineland Harm Reduction Center is located on the intersection of Landis and Main Road. Transportation systems are at our doorstep. Our office services shares a building with Maryville Treatment Center. Complete Care is an FQHC that provides primary care and is located walking distance from our fixed site. Many of our clients are on fixed incomes and/or SSI. Proximity to transportation system is important so they can access our services. What distinguishing characteristics are there in B2 districts that make the services we are currently performing, such as mental health services, drug counseling, treatment, and other, to the contrary, legitimate land use purposes? I would like to read a statement from Nicole Sage, who is also a team leader for South Jersey AIDS Alliance. Nicole works at the Vineland location every day. My name is Nicole Sage. I'm a team leader at South Jersey AIDS Alliance in Vineland. I'm also a person in long-term recovery from opiate use disorder. I entered recovery in 2008 from a syringe access program in Philadelphia. I was experiencing homelessness and misusing substances for over 10 years. At that time, I really didn't believe in the world would change, but it did, and I'm grateful for the syringe access program that helped me create this change. There's a good chance that I have not entered recovery. If I did have direct access to treatment from the syringe access program. Syringe access programs were the only place I felt comfortable during many years of my addiction. The staff that worked at the syringe access program treated me with dignity and respect. They cared for me unconditionally until I was able to care for myself. The syringe access program helped me not only not contract HIV, HCV, and hepatitis B, but also functioned as a gateway to other services, which is why it's so hard for me to understand Vineland City Council's ordinance. I eventually went to college, earned my degree in public health from the University of Pennsylvania. My end goal was to work at a syringe access program so I could give back to the community as others once did for me. I've also earned my master's degree in palliative care, and that I would work with and care for others with serious illness and emphasize on end-of-life care with people who use drugs. Harm reduction in the form of syringe access program saved my life. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're 3 people that are standing up. We're going to give you your time, and then we're going to kind of cut it short because we just got word that the weather is getting very bad and the roads are bad. So we're going to try to get everybody home safe. That's harm reduction as well. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. This will only take a minute. My name is Dave Strittmatter. I live at 216 West Butler Avenue. My neighbors and I came here tonight because we were kind of like wondering, what is this ordinance all about? Because it was kind of nebulous. Didn't take long for that to become clear. My wife and I take a walk around the block, Butler Avenue, down the boulevard to Sherman, Sherman down to Delsea, Delsea to Butler and back home. It's about 2 miles. I can tell you that I see needles all the time. And the last thing I want is to see more. So I would oppose this ordinance being adopted.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Campbell, and I'm Operations Manager with South Jersey AIDS Alliance. I've been with SJAA for 25 years now. Cumberland County is one of the latest jurisdictions to be added to the Federal High Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Program. In 2022 alone, there were 76 drug-related deaths in Cumberland County. The demographic profile of drug-related deaths in Vineland reveals certain trends. The majority of victims are between the ages of 25 and 44, indicating that the opioid epidemic and drug-related death impact a broad range of individuals in their prime years. The data also tells us that there were 389 naloxone administrations in Cumberland County, with more than half, 201 of them, happening in Vineland. All 3 targeted cities, Vineland, Millville, and Bridgeton, are in the top 25 New Jersey jurisdictions for drug-related arrests by resident municipalities. The data shows the severity of the drug epidemic in Cumberland County and Vineland in particular. Intravenous drug use increases the risk of HIV/AIDS and other bloodborne diseases. Given all this data and the increased risk of death and the spread of HIV and other bloodborne diseases to Vineland residents, what is it about this time now that made you decide to change your ordinance? I would like to read a letter written by a colleague and friend of the South Jersey AIDS Alliance. Dear members of the Vineland City Council, I am writing to express my strong support for the South Jersey AIDS Alliance and its critical harm reduction services in Vineland. As an advocate for public health and community well-being, I urge you to reconsider the proposed ordinance that would restrict or remove these life-saving services from their current location. For years, SJAA has been at the forefront of harm reduction, providing essential resources such as syringe access, HIV and hepatitis C testing, overdose prevention education, and linkage to treatment services. These programs not only save lives, but also reduce the burden on emergency medical services, decrease the spread of infectious disease, and create pathways for individuals to enter recovery when they are ready. The opioid crisis has had devastating effects on our communities, and organizations like SJAA play a vital role in addressing this public health emergency with evidence-based strategies. Restricting their services will not eliminate substance use disorder in Vineland, but it will make it more dangerous for limiting access to sterile supplies, naloxone, and supportive care that can prevent fatal overdoses. Furthermore, harm reduction services benefit the entire community. Studies consistently show that these programs do not increase crime or drug use, but instead foster healthier and safer neighborhoods. Cities across the country that support harm reduction initiatives have seen reductions in overdose deaths, infectious disease transmission, and healthcare costs. I urge you to prioritize public health and compassionate care by allowing SJAA to continue their invaluable work. Removing or restricting harm reduction services will only exacerbate the challenges faced by those struggling in substance use disorder, their families, and the greater Vineland community. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you will stand with public health experts, social service providers, and those with lived experience to ensure that SJAA remains in Vineland and continues to serve these in need. Sincerely, Susan Long, LSW, Executive Director of Angels in Motion. I would also like to add, I understand the concern about needles being in Vineland. I understand, as the gentleman just said prior to I did that there are needles in Vineland, but also I would like you to know that with the Syringe Access Program, in Atlantic City we have a 98% return rate, meaning the people who use drugs do not want the syringes on the streets either. We give them out, and we give them a safe place for them to return them. And the other 2% that is on the streets, as Georgette mentioned, our staff goes out and picks them up. So the syringes that you find on the streets on Butler Avenue, we have people who can go and pick them up, and that is not a problem for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Dan Adams. To the lady that was wiping everything and the gentleman after her, thank you for what you do. But what we're saying is it's not needed in our residential area. Okay, we have too many schools, especially the YMCA, and our children. If you want to come into our city, go on the outskirts of the city where the residential area is less. Okay, it's not needed next to the YMCA, our churches, and our schools. Thank you for using our businesses and our restaurants, but it doesn't entitle you to be in our residential areas. So I'm not saying not to come. I'm saying don't go in my backyard. And don't go next to my YMCA. Okay? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to end the public comment at that point because the weather is really getting bad. So,
Hi, Paul. The prosecutor's office would like to then submit for a written statement for consideration.
you can give it to Mr. Tanetta and we'll put it into the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to continue it.
No, ma'am, we're taking a vote tonight. You want to go do a
You're
continuance?
going to have to continue the public hearing.
Okay, we will do a continuance.
Next council meeting.
Pardon me?
If council wants to continue it to the next council meeting, then.
At the next council meeting, we'll continue it at the last, we will put it on the agenda. I don't make the agenda, so I can't tell you that. I'm sorry. All right, the chair will entertain a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-9 be continued to February 25, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
So move. Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
I have ordinance number 2025-10. Ordinance amending ordinance 96-4 as amended, Chapter 425, Article 15, Section 425-270, entitled Word Usage, definitions to clarify the term office and substance abuse counseling or treatment center, and to consider other types of offices as defined terms in accordance with Resolution 6667 of the City of Vineland Planning Board, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair will entertain a motion that ordinance number 2025-10 be taken up for a public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Anybody like to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-10 be closed.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-10 be taken up for final reading and adopted according to law.
So move.
Second.
Council discussion. If you're going to have a conversation, could you please go outside so we can finish this? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Roll call.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-10, ordinance amending ordinance 96-4 as amended. Chapter 425, Article 15, Section 425-270, entitled Word Usage, definitions to clarify the term office and substance abuse counseling or treatment center, and to consider other types of offices as defined terms in accordance with Resolution 6667 of the City of Vineland Planning Board. This ordinance is adopted.
Mr. Petrosky, please submit ordinance number 2025-10 to the mayor for his approval or disapproval.
Yes. I have ordinance number 2025-11, ordinance amending ordinance 2018-52 as amended, Chapter 123, Article 1, Section 123-1 of the Code of the City of Vineland, entitled Police Department Composition Membership Regulations, which is ready for a public hearing.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-11 be taken up for public hearing and open to the public for discussion.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Anybody like to be heard on ordinance number 2025-11? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion that the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-11 be closed.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Chair entertain a motion that ordinance number 2025-11 be taken up for a final reading and adopted according to law.
So move.
Second.
Any council members? Seeing none,
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
yes.
Ordinance number 2025-11, ordinance amending ordinance 2018-52, as amended, Chapter 123, Article 1, Section 123-1 of the Code of the City of Vineland, entitled Police Department Composition Membership Regulations. This ordinance is adopted.
Mr. Petrosky, please submit ordinance number 2025-11 to the mayor for his approval or disapproval.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have ordinance number 2025-12, which is ready for a first reading.
Chair entertains a motion that the ordinance number 2025-12 be taken up for first reading.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-12, ordinance authorizing the execution of contract and other documents necessary for the acquisition of Block 122, Lot 1, and Block 122, Lot 3.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-12 be passed for first reading, that a public hearing be held on Tuesday, February 25, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
So move.
Second.
Council members' discussion. Seeing none.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
I have ordinance number 2025-13, which is ready for a first reading.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-13 be taken up for first reading.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-13, ordinance authorizing the transfer of certain industrial property to the Vineland Industrial Commission pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-13 and approving the sale of said industrial property by the Industrial Commission pursuant to NJSA 40:55B-1 et sec.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-13 be passed for first reading, that a public hearing be held on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
So move.
Second.
Discussion by council. Seeing none.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
I have ordinance number 2025-14, which is ready for a first reading.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-18 be taken up for first reading.
So move.
I'm sorry, it's number 14.
It's for, oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I misread it.
Oh,
I'm all right.
I miswrote it. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for 2025-14. Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
2025-14, an ordinance to amend and supplement ordinance number 8, which established the classification and compensation plans for the city of Vineland, various titles of IBEW Local 210, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Non-Unit 2, Non-Union 3, and appointed officials.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-14 be passed for first reading, and that a public hearing be held on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
So move.
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
I have ordinance number 2025-15, which is ready for a first reading.
Chair entertain a motion that ordinance number 2025-15 be taken up for first reading.
So move.
Second?
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-15, an ordinance to amend and supplement ordinance number 8, which established the classification and compensation plans for the city of Vineland, tentative title, local government 10103.
Chair entertains a motion that ordinance number 2025-15 be passed for first reading, and that a public hearing be held on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
So move.
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none.
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
Mr. President, I have all the items on the consent agenda.
Chair entertains a motion that, to approve all items on the consent agenda.
So move.
Second?
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes.
That's all the formal business I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Petrosky. Dr. Arthur, anything?
Oh, just as a blood drive on the 18th at the library for anyone who would like to give blood from 11:30 to 4:30. That's it. Be safe going home.
Councilman Gomez?
No.
Councilman English?
Nothing at this time.
Councilman Vargas?
Not at this time.
Just thank everybody for coming out and voicing their opinion. We'll continue this discussion in a couple weeks, and we'll make hopefully a prudent decision. Thank you very much. Need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second?
Dr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Spinelli?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.